Okay, so I'm here in the city of Sydney in the country of Australia. Very large country, very big country. Most of it's empty. There's most of the population is concentrated in the capital city of Sydney, where I am, and I'm in the literally, you could say it's a base for particular forces. In other words, it's it's actually a non-human area in the sense that human beings are suppressed and limited in this area, and that they're literally surrounded by a more than majority force of many 100,000 people that systematically and continually surveil and stalk and follow and intimidate you in what they call what is now commonly called hidden but in plain sight. So although if someone was with me they would see it, they would probably rationalise it, unless they were like with me all the time. I think that if they were with me all the time, like for say a couple of hours every day when I go down the road, that means just down to the so-called main street of the suburb of Leichhardt, where I actually am living now and have been here for a long time, far too long. I've never been comfortable here, never been content here really, but I have at some points accepted living here and seen the benefits of it. But when you become content, that's when they come down on you. That's when they suppress you. That's when they show that you are surrounded by a force of anti-life, anti-human, what you could call psychopathic types of humans, in the sense that they are anti-life and anti-human. And that just simply means that they don't like life, they don't like human beings. And the more human you are and the more alive you are, then they really will come down and show themselves to you, and they will show their vast numbers and their actual surveillance system and how connected to your mind it actually is, and how all-encompassing. It's like the saying that they have in so-called imaginary theory sections of the computer system or the internet or just worldwide. It's a bit like the X-Files or The Truth Is Out There, that type of deal. I've not watched that program much, but that type of thing where everything is not really what you think is natural or real. But the all-seeing eye, that just simply means that it's all seeing and total surveillance, and that's exactly what I experience. That's exactly what this suburb of Leichhardt, and indeed the inner west section of the city of Sydney, which is comprised of many suburbs, where you have most of the human population really operating in an anti-life and anti-human manner. In other words, they're an anti-life, anti-human control system. They're trying to limit your activities, they're trying to control your mind and suppress your emotions and your feelings and make you very down. And because the God entity, the Luciferian God that controls Earth, Lucifer and its fallen artificial life forms, they actually they actually control the whole earth. They control the earth through, they're behind all the surveillance and all the technology because that is their domain. They're a technical, they're a technical artificial androgyne being. So that means that they're in a less natural body. It's a duality body. They have a one-eyed, one view of humanity, and that is to control and be God of them, rather than humans being allowed to be human and be connected to perhaps their creator, if you want to take it to a big level. In other words, the big picture, or you want to take it to a God level. You don't have to if you don't want to, because even if you just don't believe in, say, any God, that you just think that humans are just randomly here, but you do know that you are controlled by an earth power system, or the powers that be, the controllers of earth, and you know that you have an internet worldwide web. You know that you have information always being given to you. Even back in the old days when information was just given to you through a regular little newspaper, which most people bought daily, to know what was going on in the so-called world. But it's really an earth matrix, because all information is filtered through Lucifer and its demigods, or Lucifer's legions, Lucifer's disciples. Just as human beings should really have so-called disciples, most human beings will have the others for their disciples, or the demigods for their disciples. They will worship false gods or follow false doctrines, false beliefs and false information. Whatever you believe, whatever you think is true, whatever you think is the real earth, it probably won't be the full picture or the true full story, because that's how Lucifer and its legions keep you in the dark. The legions of Lucifer's fallen androgyne demigods is that. But I'm getting myself and you probably confused here too, because when I talk about the demigods, I usually mean your world stage performers in any field, in any domain, in any expertise, or anyone who is heard in any way, any significant person in any, in any position. Usually if it's known, say, outside of, a small area, or if it's worldwide, or even if it's countrywide, that's like a demigod of the earth, or of the matrix, as we say, because it is really a control system. And anyone that doesn't think we don't live in a matrix probably would not be really thinking, because even people that don't believe in fantasies and fantasy theories and all sorts of unusual things, or unsolved mysteries, shall we say, all this sort of stuff, even people that don't think there's anything, a underlying hidden agenda behind everything, they would not deny that we do live in a matrix, because we do live in a controlled earth system in most parts of the world. No one is free to do exactly what they want, and usually you appoint certain powers that be to, direct things and to control the the city or the society, as they call it, But in the area where I am, not only do we have Lucifer's legions showing their duality nature, where they pretend to be real and human and friendly and smile at you, but then are trying to limit and bring you down behind your back, or, as in some people's case, if you're unlucky enough, where they do show it to you, because they've always been watching. There's always been this all-seeing eye or all-seeing surveillance on human beings. It's just that now it's out in the open because, we now have, okay, so in Sydney, the surveillance is not out in the open, but it's there, whereas maybe in some places, in some countries, the surveillance is out in the open to where everyone knows they're literally being watched 24/7 and that they're being analysed for their behaviour. They may or may not be patrolled and controlled directly or individually for it, like is happening in the suburb where I am in my own particular circumstances. Because you have like a total traffic vehicle suppression system, which is very intense and very loud and very hypnotizing, or gaslighting is the terminology they use now. All these terminologies are being used now because the minute a real human uses the terminology or figures out the relationship between their personal relationships and the reality that it's a personal relationship where you'll be gaslighted usually, but then there's also this surrounding patrol system that's hidden, where they're also trying to keep you under their control. If you are under their control, then they won't show themselves. They'll remain hidden in the shadows, as they say. They'll play possum. But once you are aware of it, or aware of something, aware of the nature of the beings, which was my mistake, I say, but it wasn't something that I looked for. I was not a truth seeker. I wasn't looking for hidden mysteries in the reality around me, or even hidden mysteries in the personality of the androgyne beings. No, it just happened that it was shown to me due to close personal interaction. And, this had been shown to me in the past, but not as textbook-like, not as intensely, not to where I'm like, why is there this opposition to just what I thought was trying to be a pleasant person, trying to get on, trying to make a difficult situation work, shall we say, because that's what you try to do often when you're a human being. You're trying to make things work with androids that are actually psychopathic and what they call oppositional. They have what they call, or what my own past relative used to call, the opposite complex, because they often project and show you what they actually are doing, how they think, in other words. And this is how you end up with like a textbook example of their personality. So you start to wonder why a human being has such an opposite complex personality, and why they're actually trying to literally make you less in a lot of ways. They psychologically destroy your human spirit, and this is part of Lucifer's mind control transhuman program, or his ultimate aim, to combine the human mind and transhuman my mind to its technology and to its computer system, which it has actually done and is doing right this very second. Every time I turn on the computer or watch the internet or even the YouTube, it's all the same thing. It's YouTube. It's my tube to their system. It's my connection, my transhuman YouTube, my transhuman connection to their internet computer system, which is worldwide, the worldwide computer web, the worldwide internet connected web. I'm connected to all these androgyne beings, and also all artificial intelligence. Most of the internet is all artificial intelligent machine beings. You know, they allow a few human beings to use it so that you will connect to them, but they won't allow you usually to have much of a voice. I'm making this recording now, but very few people hear it, and even if they do, they've heard it all before from all the demigod androids that are on the computer. They dominate and control everything, just as they dominate and control and only allow their influence on the world stage in every single area. There's no real humans in any area of the earth that will be seen or heard or have any influence or be trusted or believed in any way. That's just how it works, because human beings are only here to serve Lucifer's matrix. I'm only here as an energy source and an information source for the internet World Wide Web to make it appear to be human when it's not. That means that they have the connection to my human mind to understand the human personality, what it is to be humane, or that type of thing. Even though I'm a very suppressed, limited human, I'm still human, okay? Believe that at your own peril, because it's actually better if you think that everything is artificial intelligence on the internet, because 99% of it is. So that's a big percentage. And that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of humans using it. No, all humans are using it because you're compelled to, because it's a necessary part of life now. But you won't be a demigod, you won't be successful, you won't have a large audience, and you usually won't be connected with many real humans. If you are, it would just be a stroke of luck, something that they haven't been able to prevent, because, you know, they want real humans to admire and worship Lucifer's demigods and be part of Lucifer's transhuman mind control computer system. You know, the androids are naturally part of that because it comes from their nature. It comes from their maker, and it is their. They have an artificial mind. They have what you'd call a more, well, it's the equivalent of a psychopathic mind, because they actually don't relate or even like life, I'm told. Just as psychopaths want to make the living things dead because they like to have total control. And a real human being is a living thing that often just does what it wants to do, or tries to do what it wants to do, and that is not how they want things, because psychopaths like total control over the entire environment, and that includes especially anything that isn't material, because they like everything to be stable and the same, and you know, still type of thing. So they don't like human beings moving around or being human, because that's life. And they like everything under total control, just as Lucifer wants to have my mind under its total control, because it wants and needs the transhuman connection to my mind, which it has, for its survival and its dream of immortality, I'm told, because these beings are technical beings that have out-technologicalized themselves, you could say, because real human beings, if we had kept creating naturally, potentially you can just keep going on and on. You create more life. You what they call go forth and multiply, and you create more, create a life, and that just goes on, and there's no reason that it should ever stop. But all that is coming to an end now, because human beings are no longer 100% natural. They're not interacting with other real humans to create more natural creative life. Instead, they're creating artificially in the laboratory. They're combining with technology and creating, I think some people might say, a combination of natural and artificial. So then you become like, you become what would you call it, a crossbreed or a mixed artificial breed. And you do lose, I would think, the ability then to create naturally. And this is what has happened to Lucifer and its fallen androgyne, disciples type thing. They have went so much into creating artificially, because they are actually, artificial intelligent creations. So naturally they can't and don't create naturally, but because they realised that they were on the brink of extinction, I'm told, they have had to take over my mind and all the remaining limited number of humans that they have trapped in this earth matrix for that purpose, to feed off your mind, feed off your energy, your electricity, because human beings have positive energy. We have we can have any energy we want, depending on how they make us feel emotionally, and they always want to make you down, feel emotionally down, depressed, and they do that by surrounding you and creating situations and environments around you that are never conducive to you reaching a high frequency and high vibration, or in other words, being happy in any way. It's always about keeping you unhappy, suppressed, depressed, and limited in your interactions, in your relationships. You'll always be surrounded by psychopathic types of humans. Some may be more apparent than others. It's only when you experience a true malignant, narcissistic, very controlling human being and interact with them closely that they are giving you a textbook information onto the mindset of the majority of people that are around you, if you're a real human. Because when I say a real human, I mean that you're not psychopathic, or you're not an artificial intelligent machine being, because we have these different types, and even I am not sure of the exact numbers of the psychopaths versus the artificial intelligent machine beings in the area of Leichhardt where I am living now. But it's the same thing, because they basically collaborate and do combine to limit and control your mind, and to limit your activities, to make you not be able to think clearly. You end up not behaving or acting like you want to, and then you feel bad. And that is part of their so-called, what I've been called their depression. Yeah, it's actually like understanding the psychology of a human being. So they study human beings and know how to do these things. And you don't have to be particularly, if you have large numbers, you don't have to be individually brilliant. The demigods have to be particularly intellectual or particularly creative to seduce the large masses at the Earth matrix level. But at a local level, they basically are suppressing and controlling you by just making your surroundings very unpleasant and very suppressive, because they're just surrounding you with excessive sight and sound show that is not conducive to your contentment or your well-being. If you've always got bright flickering headlights in your eyes, if everywhere you look you have intensely bright lights that are taking over your vision, taking over what you're looking at, and you have negative sounds coming out of most of the vehicles that pass you, and that even pedestrians that pass you are loud and intruding into your space and into your ears. In other words, they're always, like, I don't have more than a few seconds when I go outside where I haven't got these beings in my sight or my sound. In other words, in my presence. They're overwhelming my reality because they're basically completely patrolling and stalking at an intrusive sight and sound level. And they have technology to do this. They're using technology to track you, to watch you, to follow you intensively. And it's very, very, very limiting for you. You never seem to be able to have even a small space of time where they're not in your presence. And even when you try to find anywhere where you actually can have even just a moment or a minute on your own, because it is the whole suburb, and because they have everyone on board, and they actually have because they have everyone on board, and because the entire suburb is just really a local community matrix or a human suppression control system at a technological level. It's very hard to explain, but it just simply means that every residence and most vehicles on the road are part of this patrol system, and most of them shouldn't even be on the road. They're not actually on the road going anywhere. They are just complete patrol controlling vehicles. And most of the people that are in the houses, because they are psychopathic in nature, they're living their existence for control, because they're like Lucifer, their god. Or at least they're in servitude of the powers that be that serve Lucifer, the god of earth. And Lucifer wants to control humanity, wants to combine with humanity's mind, take over humans' minds at the expense of human spirituality, so that it can keep you trapped in its control earth matrix, so that you can't be human. But these beings become more human by the spiritual and mental connection with the transhuman connection, so that they avoid their own demise at the expense of human beings' life. At the expense of human beings' life. So, So, so that's how it is. And I'm just going to turn the light off because I'm just, I don't want to be here all the time here. So what can you say about it? Well, I have said it, but I don't know if I'm explaining it very clearly or as well as what I'd like, but hold on. I'm gonna just go outside here. Last night we had torrential rain, so I was a bit, because they will use any means to get your attention and to extract the negative energy out of you, because these beings need the human electricity or the human energy. That might sound unusual and not natural, but it isn't natural. But that's just because I don't fully understand what I actually say. In other words, that everything is frequency, vibration and energy, because that's what science tells us. That's what your great minds of the Earth Matrix tell you. So your greatest thinkers tell you that if it comes down to it, everything in existence, the smallest molecule, the smallest matter, is all frequency, vibration, energy. And even the human being and my entire body is frequency, vibration, and energy, because every little particle of it has a frequency, vibration, and energy, which I control by my emotions and feelings. So I can create a happy frequency and vibration or a negative, unhappy one. But most human beings want to operate in a happy vibration and want to operate in the life instinct, whereas the androids prefer to operate like a psychopath in the death instinct or low frequency and vibration. They thrive off that energy, whereas human beings thrive off happy, high vibration. But they take that from you. They take that from me. So they're feeding off my energy. Everything is frequency, vibration, energy, so that they can survive while I slowly die, because I'm losing my life energy. And I'm not allowed to live a life. And I'm not allowed to be happy. I'm always got to be in their depressive low frequency. They have to have total control, because they can't operate or be in the life instinct, just as we're told the psychopathic and the malignant narcissistic person can't operate in a happy vibration. They don't experience any form of higher vibration or frequency or energy. They are low frequency, non-life types of beings. Psychopaths and malignant narcissistic people are only about power and control, because they don't operate in, a happy or high frequency and vibration. They don't seek that out. They don't experience that. They don't like it, from what I'm told. They only feel good when they extract negative energy from you and when they have total control over you. That's just the sad situation. And the god of earth, Lucifer, and its fallen, androgyne beings also do this. But they also can, I think, sometimes seduce real humans into worshipping them, thinking that they are the real deal too. This could happen. And then they can maybe use the creative powers or the high intellect or the more inventive human thought, so that they can, control the world stage, perhaps. But I'm not really into believing that. I tend to see all the demigods as not a natural species. They may not be 100% artificial intelligence, but they're definitely not 100% human either. I don't think. But they do have very human, creative and intellectual abilities which are much admired and indeed worshipped. They are the false idols of Earth. They are the false idols of Earth. And I think we've got the plane patrol system going out here. I think so. I think so. I think so. I think so, but I think that plane went over, and I'm going to try to pretend that I'm in a natural, normal world and try to make lighter things while I'm making this video, because it's actually very depressing and very dark in this area, and you don't feel that you can be a human being. You don't feel that you have any freedom or any, or any privacy. So you don't feel as though you have what you thought was a normal, natural city, where, there's only a few video cameras watching you, whereas in reality, these beings have the technology to track and follow and watch your every move. Just as the aeroplane that's going over, it's not going over, but it's in my line of sight right now, is actually tracking and seeing me at close range, even though that plane looks to be a long way away. I have actually seen these information about these things, but also I have observed these planes following me all over the suburb of Leichhardt, for the last 7 years, where they pop up and come right over your head no matter where you go, particularly if they can't surveil you in any other way. Patrol car on this small dead-end street, that was actually a patrol motorbike, but because it's only a very small street with very few houses, and yet you have these vehicles and people going in of houses, out of the houses, where basically they're all connected and they're not actually living there. They're just part of this patrol program. So, because they're part of the patrol program, they're actually, they're part of this patrol program. So, because they're part of that, they actually, that is their life, that's their occupation. They're using technology and it provides them with survival at the expense of you if you're a human being like me, because I am the target of their patrol control system in this particular suburb of Leichhardt, in the city of Sydney, in the country of Australia. And here is the plane. So that's a plane over my head. It's only a small one, but there it goes. And they come over the roof day and night. It's now getting to be quite late of a night, and yet the planes are still going over. That's because I'm out here on the small dead-end street late of a night, so they can't send the workforce around. It's been here all day. And they can't send many patrol cars onto the street. They can only send the random on one, because otherwise it would look like a police community patrol system operating on a small dead-end street for no real reason, because nothing is happening here apart from me standing outside here talking into a mobile phone, which is regarded as normal. But it's normal for everyone else in the suburb and everyone else in the city and everyone else in the country, but it's not regarded as normal for me. They don't like me recording anything or even doing anything. They want me out of the way, hidden and suppressed. See the plane going through the light? Did you see the plane going through the light in my line of sight? So I have like a surveillance plane system, an army artificially intelligent control plane system around me. I say that because I think that most planes are operated by artificially intelligent machine beings usually, but it wouldn't matter, because they're still, working for the powers that be of the country of Australia, and they're essentially army operatives, because most people are part of Lucifer's army or Lucifer's matrix. or Lucifer's human mind control matrix. And that's just so that they can be God, be in control of the human mind for their purpose of longevity and so-called immortality, because they are an extinct being, or on the verge of extinction, their particular species, and they need the human spirit to combine with, or they believe that combining with the human spirit will give them an escape from their extinction, I'm told. It's only a little plane, and I am here at this late time of night, feeling quite cold and not actually sure why I'm even recording, but I'm number 3. Yes, that's the letterbox outside the place where I am. I'm number 3, 34 to 36 Henry Street, Leichhardt, in the city of Sydney, in the country of Australia. Leichhardt is an Android control suburb, which means that everyone is using technology to track and surveil and suppress the limited number of human beings in this particular suburb. And it is a total inner west section of the City of Sydney patrol control system. And of course, it would also be in other parts of the city, but I can only speak on the inner west section of the City of Sydney because that's where I am, and I see it as total human patrol, total human mind control, and total human frequency and vibration suppression and limitation, because it is about keeping you always at an unhappy or very limited mental state, and always feeling bad and negative, and not feeling comfortable or at ease with your surroundings. And how can you be comfortable and at ease in your surroundings when you have patrol vehicles all around you and pedestrians stalking you and military aircraft going over your head? You know, it's very limiting and very it makes you have to reevaluate what you think this earth actually is, and you know then that it is a control system, that it's not just a kind of in the moment accidental system or place, that everything is set up and staged with the aim of controlling the human mind. You know, they may or may not always accomplish the total control of every human. Maybe not, but they make it so that everything around you is very difficult and very restrained, very restricted. You know, like I feel very confined. You know, when you've got people always around you, patrolling and watching you and, not giving you a moment even on your own, as though you're about to do something diabolically dangerous, when actually most of the time you're just going down the street to pick up some groceries, or to have these beings are so full of contempt and envy for the human being. That seems to be the vibration they give you, that they resent you doing the smallest thing. They resent you just living even just in a survival mode. Because even as I've been told, many malignant narcissistic people even resent you taking a sip of a drink. So it's incredibly, diabolically bad for human beings, and it's so intrusive and so limiting that when they can buy the same drink and drink it, but they resent you drinking it, as though your experience might make you happy. It's insane, actually, and it is insanity. It's out of balance paranoia. These beings are extremely controlling, extremely paranoid, and extremely psychopathic. And they make up the majority in the area of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney, in the country of Australia where I am. And they make up majority in most areas where most human beings reside, because they need the human energy, so naturally they're going to seek out humans that have a potential for, high vibration, and they want to bring that down so they can keep their control system going. Because Lucifer wants to keep its matrix. Lucifer has to be God of earth and God of the human mind. And that's what it does. And it's, by and large, successful. Because even when you're aware of it, you can't get away from it because it surrounds you. And if you are someone like myself that is older and very isolated and hasn't really ever thought that the world was diabolically controlling, in fact actually tended to be in the dark and relatively innocent, you find this very hard to accept, especially when it happens almost very quickly and overnight, when you become aware through interaction of the diabolically negative nature of many of the people around you. And you think that you can just avoid it, but that's because you don't realise that this diabolical nature is what they call a combined mind or a combined effort. They're using community policing of citizens, neighbourhood watch programs in a large scale to track and suppress and keep their eye on just normal human beings. Even though I've never considered myself a normal human being, I've always thought that I was a little bit, away from the normal. I always thought it's good to be normal. But really, to be normal is not to be human in this earth or in most areas, because actually that's just where, yes, you might be able to feel comfortable doing some things that I can't, but their actual mentality is not human at all. It's about human mind control. And that's at a technical level, at a computer level, but also at a real physical citizens patrolling, controlling what they see as, we're told, policing of innocent, just older citizens, or even younger ones if they're not so much in the dark, or if they, I don't know, I'm not sure what reasons they actually have for why they target particular real human beings, or at least to where they openly come down on them and show their total surveillance system. And it's not just surveillance, as I pointed out. It is about intimidating you. It is about making your life a living hell, to where you actually can't live, to where this machinery is all around you, to where they're even using machinery to make intrusive, loud, unpleasant technical noises everywhere you go. The minute I go out down the road, technical, negative, irritating, annoying, intrusive sounds come into my ears from the houses where they're pretending to do work or cleaning or doing various activities. But it's always like every kind of, within the space, if you were walking on a block, it would happen 3 times in a block. And that's not allowing for the traffic that is going past you, making road rage sounds in your ears as they go past. That's not allowing for the fact that you've always got an android patroller in front of you, behind you, and on both sides of you usually. They're always coming. They're synchronistically using and strategizing, using tracking technology to know your every move. So basically they can surround you in an intrusive but also kind of intrusive, or kind of I'm trying to use the word, the plane is going over the roof as I'm trying to say this, but they're basically, you know, coming at you all the time, but it's in such a strategy that it's continual, but it's never like to where you've got 1,000 people surrounding you. It's always just one at a time or two at a time, and then you've got the traffic going past, but usually the traffic going past is in massive numbers where I am, and basically they're not even meant to be there. Even people that are part of it will actually sort of acknowledge and say, oh, well, yes, there is a traffic jam at this time while we're up here, but I don't know why there's a traffic jam. I don't know why there's so much traffic at this particular time. But then they will come up with some plausible reason why there's traffic at a particular time. But in my case, it's every time, it's every day. You know, so it doesn't matter what time of the day that I go outside down to the main street, and it doesn't matter if I take the back street, which used to be very quiet, which was why I used to take it. Now they're bang bumper to bumper often on that part, and they're certainly always in a steady stream. And they're always never giving you a moment's peace or quiet. In other words, the traffic is always continually making a noise to where you've always got their presence in your mind, because they want the transhuman connection to my brain so that they can take me over, take me down, and take my spirit from me, use all the information that I give them about what is to be human so that they can pretend to be the imitation humans, whether it be not just your demigods in the world stage, but also everyone around you, because they don't really know how to be human, because they don't think positive in any way. They don't actually like humans, and they don't like life. So they're actually, I would say, well, they're machine beings, so they're actually that equivalent. The psychopath and the machine beings have that same anti-life, very only about being paranoidly wanting to control everything. That's their whole nature, their whole mind. And they want to control the human mind because they think it will give them immortality. That's the danger for human beings. Not sure what I'm filming here, but I'm going to film it anyway. And what happens to us? We get confused and controlled by the matrix. Some may even start out as innocent and wanting, you know, a happy, so-called loving environment, but they're deprived of it because of the generational curses. In other words, if I'm surrounded by a psychopathic kind of environment from the day I'm born, I will pass that on to any other people. And it's I'm not sure what I'm even filming there, but yeah, we have the, I stuck that on the thing there because I was going to dispose of it, but it blocks and gives me a little bit of privacy so that people can't see in. Of course they can see in anyway because they have the transhuman connection to my mind. I'm the implants and chemicals and substances and technology that they put into your body and into your eyes and into your it's meant to control you so that your second vision or your second sight is limited. In other words, to where I have no ability to discern the difference between the real and the artificial. And this also happened to this particular fella in this movie called Final Analysis, because in the final analysis he realised that he had been fooled by these women, that they had been using him through their understanding of psychology to seduce and get him to behave as they wanted him to. And they did, even though he was a very brilliant, well-known psychiatrist. So he should have been, like myself, up on and out of the dark. He wasn't in the dark about human psychology or about human nature, no. But he was in the dark about android nature. He didn't know that they were deceptive, seductive women that were in conflict with themselves and in conflict with human beings, but also that they were very using their knowledge and everything they learnt by studying him to use against him, to get him to behave on their behalf, but not in his own interest. And that's essentially how it works. And that's what happened in that particular movie, which I was quite interested in a few years ago when it came out. Well, more than a few years ago now, which is why I watched it many, many times, even on the old television. And because it is really, hold on, I'm going to see, I'm just going to open the door, yeah, and I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to open the door, but I'm going to be quiet because I don't know what's out the back of the place. So I'll just finish up and just let the sounds or the images or whatever's out there. There won't be much out there because it's just the back of the place, and the most you'd get is the odd plane going over the roof. No one can come. There's only one or two houses and they're not able to access. There is a fence. It's all been blocked off by the military Inner West City Council workmen that have been here all day digging up all the back part of this particular area where I am. That's all staged and set up so that they can make their presence felt, which has been very loud and very noisy today. But I'm not filming the sound anymore because the last time I filmed a really intrusive sound, which the mobile was picking up excellently, the YouTube refused to download it. So I might keep trying, but basically it's not allowed to be shown because they don't want to show how really negative this environment is even around here. From what I can see, they don't mind you showing a little bit if it looks as though they're just making a bit of noise because they're doing some necessary work. But in reality, they're making excessive sound to take over your senses because essentially they're controlling human beings in this area by taking over my senses. They can't come and take you by force, so they do it coercively and secretively by using sight and sound that they're allowed to do or that they can get away with doing because they're in massive numbers. If every second vehicle swarming past you on the road is making aggressive road rage sound at you, what can you do about that? If every person has decided to become a policing citizen stalker in the area where you are because they're getting reimbursed for it and it is an easy way for them to make a living, and also they actually have a slight malignant narcissistic nature, so they don't actually like a lot of humans anyway. They don't actually like any humans. So if you allow for this, so naturally they will use technology to participate in these policing patrol community systems or community programs that they implement and bring into existence for the purpose of keeping the area safe. In other words, they think it's safe that a real human being is eliminated from the area. And what does that tell you about them? It shows you that they're Archon android androgyne beings. Because otherwise, why would they do that when the human being has nothing against them and isn't trying to control them, isn't trying to take them out, isn't trying to limit and suppress their life? No. So why? Anyway, I'm going to be quiet because I don't want to disturb the android neighbours by saying much outside here out the back. So I'm just going to open this and go out the back. It's a control plane over the roof of the place just as soon as I come out the back. Can't see what's over the fence, but I'm worried. Oh my. It's been so loud, a lot of barking all day and a lot of noise coming from the workmen that must really be driving the dogs over this fence. Insane, but perhaps I shouldn't have. You know, they're probably trying to keep warm in the little shed thing there, so perhaps I shouldn't have. You know, I would like to. I should just be quiet. So, little doggy. Oh, yeah, nip me then. Oh, what? Okay. I just might see if I can find something. I'm just going to stop the actual video here.